I'm not sure if Charlotte was going to introduce me, but I guess I'll introduce myself. So, well, anyway, thank you everybody for coming out here today. I just have to thank each and every one of you. I think just by being here, you're showing that you really do care about Fremont. And I also have to thank our wonderful and talented musicians. When I heard your music and saw the caliber of musicians that we were having here today, I was just thrilled. I had no way did I think we would get musicians of that caliber here. And please, everyone, check out their CDs right over there, and thank them for being here yourselves. And finally, I have to express my sincere gratitude for all the people who have helped out on this campaign so far. At our first campaign meeting back in March, I had 14 people there, all of whom were dedicated to the campaign. Given the energy and the competence and the intelligence of these people, I knew I already had a viable campaign. And more people are getting on board. And I'm really honored to have all these fine people working on my campaign. And if you just look around at how well this event is set up, that's the kind of work that these people have done. They've just been great. So the question for me now is, how do I pay all these people back for all of their fine efforts? And the answer is quite simple. I'm going to run a successful grassroots campaign, and I'm going to become a city council member whose actions reflect the will of the people of Fremont. As I speak with more and more people in Fremont, the most common theme I hear is that the current city council does not listen to their concerns. One example is the city council going against the recommendation of the planning commission and approving the 6-story Sabercat Center development in spite of intense opposition from nearby residents. When elected, I will listen to the concerns of neighborhoods and communities and make decisions based on those concerns. Now I want to talk about the specifics of my platform. A primary focus of my campaign is balanced growth. So what does that mean? It means balancing the needs of neighborhoods and communities against the desires of big developers. It means balancing the needs for long-term revenue from jobs against the short-term boost provided by more residential development. It means having a long-term vision for how we want to see our city grow and planning development to achieve that vision. Currently, every development that comes along, whether it's residential or retail, seems to be approved by the council haphazardly with no discussion of how the development fits into any long-term vision. The council seems intent on approving more and more housing and retail. I believe we need to balance retail and housing with more businesses. In particular, businesses with high-paying, good quality jobs. Now, I'll talk more about jobs a little later on because I think that is a very important topic all on its own. In general, I think we need to slow down the pace of development. We need to take a step back and we need to ask ourselves where we want our city to go. The council is currently considering some huge, irreversible decisions such as Patterson Ranch and the 3,000-unit development next to the proposed ballpark. Given the magnitude of these decisions, we need to make absolutely sure that this is what we, the people of Fremont, really want for our city. Another important issue is better schools, and this is an issue that's near and dear to me as I have an 11-year-old son who is in the Fremont public school system. Now, it's true that the Fremont City Council does not run the schools, but I don't like the attitude I see from council where they basically just say, well, sorry, schools are not our issue. The City Council does indeed make decisions that greatly impact our schools. For example, it doesn't take much insight to realize that any additional homes that are zoned for by council will result in an increased number of students that our schools need to accommodate. We also need better cooperation between the school board and the city council. While there is now an occasional joint meeting between the two, we need to be more collaborative and creative and get these two bodies working together to preserve the quality of Fremont schools. Another important issue for Fremont is the promotion of local businesses. Independent, locally owned businesses are an essential part of a vibrant economy. Locally owned businesses put more money back into the city economy and contribute to unique community character. The owners of these businesses are committed to Fremont and they should be rewarded for their commitment. We need to recognize what these businesses contribute and promote a balanced economic development policy that doesn't create unfair burdens on small businesses. I'd also like to see the city focus on creating pedestrian-friendly commercial areas focused on existing neighborhoods as opposed to more large auto-oriented development. You don't have to look very far from Fremont to to see examples of this type of development. Pleasanton, Mountain View, and Sunnyvale all have walkable downtown areas that are a source of pride and tax revenue for their cities. Mixed-use pedestrian and bicycle-friendly development create more vibrant communities that attract jobs and are pleasant places to live. We definitely need more places in Fremont that foster a sense of community and belonging. Fremont already has several unique and attractive commercial districts with a lot of charm and history. In my opinion, we're not doing enough to take care of them. The newer development efforts are mainly focused on the other side of 880. The redevelopment efforts in Centerville and Irvington are stalled despite being around for years. Now, there's some progress being made in the Niles redevelopment project, but much more can be done there. And as with Centerville, we've had numerous studies about our so-called downtown area, and as of late, we've seen really nothing on that. And I heard that the city has just approved another $1 million study of what to do with our downtown area. As Charlotte mentioned, I've worked a lot with the Sierra Club, and the environment is indeed an important theme in my campaign. I am an environmentalist, and I am proud of it. My father was an Isaac Walton League Republican back in the 1950s. He was an environmental engineer before they called people environmental engineers. In fact, one of the favorite quotes about my father was that he was an environmentalist before it became fashionable back in the 1960s. As for myself, I learned about global warming back in the 1970s. As an undergraduate, I majored in biology with an emphasis on ecology, and my first job out of college was as an environmental researcher. I've always been passionate about the environment. My favorite hobby is indeed wildlife photography. And over the last 10 years, my main volunteer work has been with the Sierra Club. And last year, I was awarded one of the San Francisco Bay Chapter's Volunteer of the Month award for my efforts.